Welcome to Channel 9 News. I'm Daniel. I'm Sebastian. And today we're going to talk about the most important events in the U.S. in the 1990s. We're going to talk about the Persian Gulf War, fashion, and much more. Now we're going to send out to Corbin.
Thanks, Daniel. Today I'm talking about terrorism in the 90s. 1993, an Islamic terrorist group, Al-Qaeda, exploded a truck bomb beneath the parking garage of the World Trade Center, killing 6 and injuring more than 1,000. 5 years later, they set car bombs up at the U.S. embassies, which killed 225 and injured 5,000. The truck bombing at the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi killed 12 Americans and caused an entire building to collapse. Normally suspected Al-Qaeda to be a big problem as Americans focused on domestic issues in the U.S. In 1995, Oklahoma City, white terrorists placed 3 bombs when one exploded, which killed 168 and injured 680 plus. The motivation was hatred towards the government and the Waco siege. One of the terrorists, McVeigh, was arrested after being stopped for driving without license plates. Terrorism is still a major issue in the U.S. today. We need to improve our guns, Hamas 280, airport security, most importantly, social safety. Hey, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Wow, I hope Corbin's okay. Yeah, I hope he gets to safety. Now let's send it over to Omar.
Hi, I'm Omar. Today we will discuss the global economy. At this time, Republicans have supported the interests of business and free trade agreements. Democrats had been sympathetic to labor interests and have often opposed legislation that would cost American workers' lives. Bill Clinton opposed the democratic thinking by supporting free trade blocs, such as the EU, which is also known as the European Union. In 1903, a number of European nations established the European Union to coordinate monetary and economic policies in 1993. The Bush administration and other leaders proposed the North American Free Trade Agreement, which is also known as NAFTA, but Congress blocked it. Clinton signed a total of 270 free trade agreements, including a revision of the General Agreement on Trades and Tariffs, signed in 1994. In 1994, and the Accords of the World Trade Organization, which was signed in 1995. The American economy had also gone into recession by 1993, which was fatal until 1999.
Well, you learn something new every day. Now I'm going to talk about the Persian Gulf War.
Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein ordered the invasion and occupation of neighboring Kuwait in early August 1990. Alarmed by these actions, fellow Arab powers such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt called the United States and other Western nations to intervene. Hussein defied United Nations Security Council demands to withdraw from Kuwait by mid-January 1991, and the Persian Gulf War began with a massive U.S.-led air offensive known as Operation Desert Storm. After 42 days of relentless attacks by the Allied coalition in the air and on the ground, U.S. President George H.W. Bush declared a ceasefire February 28. By that time, most Iraqi forces in Kuwait had either surrendered or fled. Though the Persian Gulf War was initially considered an unqualified success for the international coalition, simmering conflict in the troubled region led to a second Gulf War, known as the Iraq War, that began in 2003.
This is the oil Saddam Hussein stole from Kuwait. If he keeps on stealing oil, he will dominate the oil supply in the Middle East. Now back to me, and we're going to talk about 90s fashion. The 1990s saw an array of fashion trends. For example, grunge mainly dominated this era due to the popularity in rock bands and grunge music. For example, flannels such as this were often found in thrift stores. They became extremely popular and were often sold out. Young boys and girls also like to wear baseball caps like this in different ways, like this. and the hip hop culture also had a big influence on it. Hip hop and rap influenced Air Jordans, worn by the infamous Michael Jordan, and baggy tees and long shorts. Girls and guys like to wear denim jackets, as seen here, as they were very versatile in any outfit. You also saw ripped jeans worn by women, and anti-war protesters like to wear camouflage pants. The most popular color was black during this era, mainly because of the grunge music, and girls also like to wear shoes called Birkenstocks and Doc Martens.
Wow, those are some nice clothes.
Thanks.
Now let's send it over to Omar.
1992 election. In this election, the main nominees were George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot. Bill Clinton won the 1992 election. H. Ross Perot, who led a self-funded independent party, had promised to govern by sound business principles. The Democrats nominated Bill Clinton, governor of Arkansas, as their presidential candidate. After the Persian Gulf War ended, George H.W. Bush's approval rating reached 91%. Clinton promoted himself as a new Democrat and had sound principles. Bill Clinton had entered the presidential race along with the Texas billionaire H. Ross Perot. His campaign focused on economic and social opportunity for all. He argued that, unlike Bush, he came from a background of struggling, and argued that Bush just came to make the rich richer.
Thanks for that, Omar. Now, let's take up on Corbin.
Thanks, Daniel. Today I'm talking about 90s technology. The 90s saw a huge array of advancements in home computing and electronic technology. Streaming technology like pages were introduced, which were like a new texting device. Another big item was the Discman, a portable CD player that made music listening easier. The huge item that came around was the Game Boy, the portable game system that every kid had as a child. Introduced Sonic the Hedgehog and other game characters. 1998, the first iMac computer debuted, which was a huge monitor on a small desktop. Another item to watch movies on was a VHS tape. You can insert the VHS tape and get straight into your movie. Another important item for kids was a nano pet. It taught children how to raise pets. The main transformation was a cell phone. It came from a chunky brick to a light, small, portable telephone.
Thanks, Corbin. Now I'm going to talk about War on Terror. The September 11th attacks, also referred as 9/11, were a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Islamic terrorist group Al Qaeda on the United States on the morning of Tuesday, September 11, 2001. The attacks killed over 2,996 people and injured over 6,000 others, and caused at least $10 billion in property and infrastructure damage and $3 trillion in total cost. 4 passenger airliners operated by 2 major U.S. passenger air carriers, United Airlines and American Airlines, all of which had departed from airports in the northeastern United States bound to California, were hijacked by 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists. 2 of the planes, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, were crashed into the north and south towers, respectively, of the World Trade Center complex in New York City. Within an hour and 42 minutes, both 110-story towers collapsed, with debris and resulting fires causing partial or complete collapse on all other buildings. The war on terror is a metaphor of war, referring to the international military campaign that started after the September 11th attacks on the United States. U.S. President George W. Bush first issued the term war on terror on 20th September 2001. The Bush administration and the Western media have used the term to argue a global military, political, legal, and conceptual struggle against both terrorist organizations against the regimes accusing of supporting them. It was originally with a particular focus on countries associated with Islamic terrorist organizations, including Al-Qaeda and like-minded organizations. Now it's time for the best part of the news, entertainment.
Now we're going to talk about 1990s entertainment. The 1990s were an eventful time for film. One of the most popular animated films, Pixar's Toy Story, was released, revolutionizing the animated film scene. Titanic becomes a cultural phenomenon throughout the world and eventually becomes the highest grossing film of all time, grossing over $1.8 billion worldwide. Films produced by Walt Disney also became extremely popular, such as Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. You also saw during the 1990s a change in music. Mainly, grunge became very popular, and also rap, such as for the grunge bands like Green Day and rap, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac were very popular. 1990s also saw major changes in the sports industry. Michael Jordan led his Chicago Bulls to a dominant 6th NBA title, and Coach K over at Duke became one of the most honorable coaches after leading his team to many championships. Magic Johnson shocked the basketball community and the sports industry after he came out saying that he tested positive for AIDS. 1990s, you also saw many new sitcoms, such as one of the most popular ones, Seinfeld. And you also saw comedy shows such as Saturday Night Live, which was extremely popular.